Hey, Nick here of MedTech World, sitting with one of the startup founders, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Dr. Aaron Lynn, and it's Mindstep. You're going to compete here. In the startup section.
Yeah, absolutely.
Practice your pitch.
Yeah, it's a
What you
pleasure
got?
to be here. So Mindstep, we are an AI-driven front door platform for mental health conditions. What we do is we are able to screen, triage, and care for patients who have mental health conditions, essentially. And so what we do is we're all about leveraging clinically validated assessments to increase patient access to clinical care, to increase patients' access to care when they need it and when they need it. And we do a lot of work with payers and providers. We do a lot of work around increasing capacity to scale, essentially. And so when we think about capacity-limited healthcare systems, especially when we think about mental health, which relies on clinicians and psychologists and psychiatrists who you just cannot train quickly enough, the burden of mental health is increasing every single day when we talk about a population that has been affected by COVID, that has been affected by all the stress that is happening in the world with the economy, with politics. The burden of mental health is increasing. Healthcare systems cannot scale quickly enough. And so what Mindstep does is we come in at the very front of that healthcare journey for patients. We act as a front door, providing immediate 24/7, 365 access to mental health support. We triage them, and we then kind of stratify their access to further services. And so when we think about a scenario where you have 100 patients asking for mental health appointments, we can say, well, actually, from the general population, the data shows that 70-80% of those people don't need to be seen immediately. They can be managed asynchronously through subclinical level interventions, through digital therapeutics. And those 10-20% of patients who need care urgently, who need to be seen quickly to prevent any consequences of untreated mental health, can be escalated quickly into those healthcare systems, essentially. So for us, it's all about improving access and improving support for patients when they need it.
Well, the access there, been there in the middle of the night, which tends to be where a lot of issues occur in the hours when no one is there.
Absolutely.
And this machine, what's the interface like when they're dealing with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we talk a lot about AI, and it's such a hot topic. But for us, AI is something that we very much leverage in the back end of our system. For Mindstep, and especially for mental health, we do a lot of work around empathetic systems, where we talk about making systems that are very patient-centric, patient-focused, that are a pleasure to engage with. When you are worried about your mental health, when you're scared and concerned, you don't want to be talking to something that's overly clinical, overly robotic. You want to be talking to almost a human. And so the way that we've designed our platform is designed around being an empathetic chatbot, almost, an empathetic AI that feels like you were talking to a person, but has the level of clinical validity as a clinician.
When I think triage,
Yeah.
I think the hospital, the emergency departments, the nurse who sees you before you're seen. If the wound is seeping, it's going to tie it up for the short term. Triage. This is here. The words that are chosen, they're selected. Sound advice. Tell me what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we take a patient through our platform, we essentially run them through a multiple series of clinically validated questionnaires and assessments. And based off of that data, we're able to form a really clear picture of what someone's mental health is like. And we're then able to effectively divert them to the most appropriate level of care. And so whether that is something fairly low level, like subclinical interventions like low-level CBT, getting up to exercise more, improving your diet, all commonly accepted measures of mental health are improving mental health. But if we also detect someone's mental health is quite poor, we can escalate them immediately to see a psychiatrist, a psychologist who is on call to deal with urgent medical interventions. And I think in the most severe cases, we can also refer them directly into healthcare systems. And so, we work within the NHS a lot. And so one thing that we can do is if we detect someone has suicidal tendencies, we immediately divert them to NHS 999 or 111, where they can get the support they need from trained medical professionals. And of course, that supports and that scales across global healthcare systems, that scales across payers and providers who have different levels of access for different patients and different needs. But I think what we see at the moment is patients just don't know where to go. There are too many services, too many pathways, and they get lost.
Where are you at the moment? Are you at a minimum viable product? Where are you?
Yeah, so we actually are rolling out with a global insurer over the next couple of weeks. We have a product. We have an enterprise level product that we primarily sell across the UK and Europe. But I think one of the reasons that we absolutely love Malta is because it is a gateway between Europe and the Middle East and the rest of the world. And so I think one of the unique things about mental health is that it is not a geographically limited problem. Every country in the world is struggling with mental health issues. Every healthcare system struggles with growing demands for mental health services. And so, at the moment we operate across the UK and the EU, but obviously our ambitions are to grow much more than that. I think our next targets are especially going to be in the Middle East and out in Asia as well.
And dare I ask the question, monetization, how will this make money?
Absolutely. I think when we founded Mindstep, our ambition was always to make the service free to the end user. We want to provide accessible mental health service to everybody. And so within our business model, that's why we work with payers and healthcare providers, where we charge payers and providers that fee, so that they can provide that service to their patients. And this venture isn't something for us we're not charging through the nose for it, essentially. Again, for us, it is all about increasing access to the people who need it the most.
Well, yeah. I hope it works. I hope you've got success at
Thank
the competition.
you so much.
Best of luck. That was a great pitch.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Lynn, thanks for being with us.
Nice to meet you.
Nicholas signing off from MedTech World.